Vidimia.com.
The following incomplete frequency distribution and corresponding incomplete histogram have been prepared using the marks obtained in a test by 40 students in a class. Here 10 to 20 denotes the marks interval greater than 10 and less than or equal to 20, and the other intervals denote similarly. So now we have been given with a small chart, that's the frequency distribution table, where we have marks and the number of students. But we have some blanks which we need to fill by obtaining data from the histogram. And we have a histogram where we have some space to be filled. So we have to obtain data from this frequency distribution table to fill those. So in the frequency distribution table, the first cell 10 to 20. There are 6 students, and in the histogram also it is denoted as 6. The second row in the frequency distribution table, that is 20 to 40, and we have to find the number of students. And if you look at the histogram, for 20 to 40 we have 4 students, but we have to be very careful here. Now the first interval is 10 to 20. If you look at the second row, you can clearly see that the interval size is 20. However, the interval size of other rows except the fourth row is 10. So we shall take 10 as a standard interval size. In the histogram, from 10 to 20 we have 6. But from 20 to 30 and 30 to 40, it is denoted as 4 students. Which means it is clear that for each interval we have 4 students. Since in the second row we have 2 intervals together, and for each interval we have 4 students, the total number of students should be 8. So next, the third row in the frequency distribution table, it's quite straightforward because we have 40 to 50, and if you look at the histogram, the 40 to 50 number of students is 7. So we have to put 7 there. So let's move to the fourth row in the frequency distribution table. Here we have a small problem. Now we have an interval of 50 to 80, which means 3 times of our standard interval. 50 to 80 means the size of the interval is 30. And if you look at the histogram, we have nothing there. So we have to draw something there. So we have 3 classes between 50 to 80, which means 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80. And there are 15 students. So we can assume that for each class we have 5 students. So what we have to do is we have to draw a line between 50 to 80, denoting number of students as 5. So the next row, that is 80 to 90, it's quite straightforward because the histogram shows there are 4 students. So we have to just put 4 for 80 to 90. So guys, let's move to the next question. Express the number of students who obtain more than 40 marks as a percentage of the total number of students. So above 40 marks covers the intervals of 40 to 50, 50 to 80 and 80 to 90. So if we add the number of students of each of these categories, that would be 26 students. So 26 students out of total number of 40 students, that means 65% of the students have got more than 40 marks. So next question. Draw the frequency polygon on the histogram. Simply, a frequency polygon connects the midpoints of each interval. So which means simply we have to connect the midpoints of each interval starting from the very first interval, that is 0 to 10, and completing at the last interval, that is 90 to 100.